Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, January 3. The next head of the Jamaica Constabulary Force will be subject to a performance-based contract. That announcement came this morning from National Security Minister Robert Montague as he addressed the JCF's annual devotion exercise.
There must be a performance agreement. The Commissioner of Police holds a sensitive position. But I am saying the candidate who is willing to apply must also stand by, because there's going to be another criteria. You must come to the table with your plans, your visions as to how you are going to tackle what faces Jamaica and this constabulary force.
He says the Police Service Commission has also been instructed to ensure that the new Commissioner of Police is the best person for the job, irrespective of rank or gender. Minister Montague says the individual must have the requisite academic qualification as well as experience.
The public has invested in you. And the public is now feeling helpless, hopeless, and powerless. You stand between the public and the criminal elements. And therefore, it cannot be business as usual. We want the best person to lead the force. The best person. If it's a constable, so be it. If it's a deputy commissioner, so be it. But the best person must lead the force.
In the meantime, the security minister has praised the outgoing head of the Jamaica Constabulary Force for his years of public service. Dr. WILIAMS is in his final days at the helm of the JCF, having handed in his resignation late in December. It takes effect on January 6. Describing Commissioner WILIAMS as a man of impeccable integrity, Minister Montague says he wraps up his tenure with no stain on his record.
And for those who may harbor thoughts against him, I challenge anyone to come forward with any evidence. We must be grateful for his service, and a grateful nation will express its gratitude for that service.
He also assured the other men and women of the force that they had his support and gratitude, as well as that of the Jamaican people.
Don't let the detractors get you down. You have a tough job. But if it wasn't tough, you wouldn't be here. Because nothing don't come easy in life. But I am proud this morning that I happen to be the Minister of National Security, serving this country at this time, with a force comprised of men and women who are sitting before me this morning. I am proud. I am proud of every one of you.
In other news, the government has completed the standards governing the packaging and labeling of brown sugar. Minister of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries Carl Samuda signed the order on December 29. It was gazetted on December 30. The new mandatory standard calls for producers and repackers of sugar to put in place food safety systems. Additionally, all sugar in commercial trade will need to be appropriately labeled to the required standard.
This means all sugar available to the retail trade must be appropriately labeled and will guarantee traceability of the product.
Minister Samuda says the standard will also serve as a disincentive for manufacturers that import sugar for use as a raw material to divert it to the local retail trade.
Only approved entities will be allowed to buy and sell bulk sugar packaged in 50-kilo bags, and registered entities will be allowed to repack sugar into smaller bags, 5-kilo bags or less.
A moratorium has been placed on its implementation to facilitate all the infrastructural changes. It will come into effect for packers of brown cane sugar on July 1, 2017 and takes effect on January 1, 2020 for producers and manufacturers of brown cane sugar. Agriculture Minister Carl Samuda has withdrawn the ministerial order that was imposed in late September for the frosty pod rot of cocoa disease. The island-wide order was imposed in an attempt to isolate and limit the spread of the disease, but the result of a delimiting survey has found that the infestation is widespread, prompting a recommendation from the ministry's plant quarantine produce inspection branch to lift the order and pursue other long-term management strategies.
Because as you know, there was a large outcry on the part of some growers that had not been affected, wondering why we had to close them down, why we had to affect their production and sales and their general revenue. Well, as a result of now determining that the disease is widespread throughout Jamaica, we have developed a new strategy. We no longer need the order to remain in place, and we will now pursue a strategy of field management with a view to control and the eventual eradication over a long-term period.
The long-term management strategy for containment and eradication will be led by the Cocoa Industry Board. It will allow for the continued harvesting and movement of cocoa beans in designated areas on a prescribed protocol. As the country continues to monitor and manage the disease, all cases or suspected cases of the frosty pod rot of cocoa are to be reported to the relevant regulators.
We will continue to support the industry financially and in every way possible through extension services, advice, visits regularly, and we will continue under our containment program to ensure that the industry remains viable.
The delimiting survey revealed that the frosty pod rot of cocoa disease was primarily focused in northern Clarendon, from which 70% of the island's cocoa is produced. Other areas of smaller clusters in St. Mary, St. Catherine and St. Andrew were also found to be infected with the disease. And finally, health tourism is poised for expansion as the government takes steps to engage the diaspora as the first market in the sector. President of Jamaica Promotions Corporation, JAMPRO, Diane Edwards, says the country is developing a competitive advantage over other Caribbean countries as focus is placed on diagnostic and dental services. Ms. Edwards says JAMPRO has facilitated meetings between local medical professionals and their counterparts in Atlanta and Washington in the United States. She says this is critical to forming relationships that will lead to an expansion of the sector, particularly through word of mouth and recommendations. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.